What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into the Vitality attribute, and there's a lot to unpack in here because Vitality covers a lot of different areas, not only your total hit points, but the way that you heal, how much you heal, how quickly you heal, and temperature effects, as well as how long you can be underwater. Getting right into being underwater, on the left hand side you can see we have no perk, and on the right hand side we have the first perk. And there's a little timer in the bottom right hand corner of your screen so that you can see how much breath you actually get with the first perk. Now the first perk says that it essentially doubles your breath, and in my testing I can say that it does do that. On the left hand side you'll see we're almost out of breath there, and there it goes. We are at 30 seconds on the left hand side, and we continue for about another 30 seconds on the right hand side, so essentially it does double your breath. So that's an easy one to mark off the list. For Vitality, the first perk is absolutely working. Now, in addition to the perks, you also gain 8 hit points per point that you spend in Vitality. So for every perk, you're going to gain another 80 hit points. Now let's jump into the second perk, which is Impervious. All temperature effects are now diminished. Now I set up this little testing area so that I could control how hot I actually got in one spot. So I'm standing in the exact same spot every time for this testing, and I want to get about 120 Fahrenheit there. That is going to cause me to be extremely hot and to start taking damage. Now, once you hit very hot, your thirst is increased and your total stamina is reduced. But we've hit extremely hot, and what I want to show you is the amount of damage that I'm taking every time I take damage from the heat. And that's a total of 5 damage. Now I'm testing it with hot, but the results are the exact same with cold, so if I was extremely cold in this instance, I would be taking 5 damage as well. Okay, so I have bought the next perk, and I'm going to stand in the exact same spot. Now, as I get hot, you'll see effect prevented by Impervious perk. Thirst rate increased slightly. That says something different than it did before. And then as I get to extremely hot, what I want you to pay attention to is the amount of damage that I start to take. And there it is. You can see I have that second perk just so you can see it and to be clear. But I am actually taking 6 points of damage every time I take damage from the heat. Now, why is that? Wouldn't you think that that should actually be lower, since it says all temperature effects are now diminished, and taking damage from temperature is one of those effects? I actually did a little bit of digging into the dev kit this time around, and I figured out why this is. So, as you level up Vitality, you grow your total health pool. But the damage temperature effects are based on a percentage. So level 3 would be extremely hot or extremely cold, and level 4 would be heat stroke or frostbite. At level 3, the percent is about 1.5%, and at level 4, the percent is just over 3%. So what that means is that no matter what, the more points you put in Vitality, the more damage you will take from temperature effects. And as you can see, I have all 5 perks currently, and I just want to show you the temperature effect that I actually take. That is double the damage that it was if I didn't buy that second perk. Now maybe I'm interpreting this perk wrong and it's not supposed to affect how much damage you take. It's totally possible that it could just be how thirsty you are, how hungry you are, and how much stamina you lose or are not able to use because of the temperature. However, as you level your character up, there's no point in time where you should take more damage because you have more hit points, and I think they need to change this to a flat rate damage. I should probably also mention that at no point in time was I actually able to get where my stamina was lowered. So I'm not sure if that's working as intended or not. I was not able to make it happen. Going into the third perk of Vitality, which is probably the sweet spot for most people, they want to get to this third perk. This, it gives you a 1 point of healing every second, so it doesn't matter as long as you are not taking damage, you are going to gain passive health, and this perk is called Fierce Vitality. Okay, for the rest of the video, you're not going to see Fierce Vitality work. As you can see, I have the third perk there, but my hit points are not going up. I've loaded a mod that essentially negates that. It doesn't actually work for just that passive health regen. And the reason why I'm doing that is so that I can show you exactly what's happening with the fourth and fifth perk in Vitality. Okay, so on to the fourth perk. Receptive increases the healing effect of consumables and dancers significantly. I didn't test dancers. I'm only going to test food. I have no idea how to test the dancers. So hopefully it's working as intended, but I'm sure that food actually is working as intended. So let me explain how I tested this. I ate both a steak and roasted haunch without having that perk. I then went and looked at what the total hit points were, as well as looking at the stats page to see how many points I was getting every 3 seconds. Now, there's a range of health that each food will give you, and I actually have a full guide to food on my channel. I'll link that in the description of this video. If you want to see what foods have the best hit points, that's in that other video. However, the foods that I did test for this worked perfectly. So the steak and the haunch, and I actually tested with the cooked pork meal as well. All of those had increased stats when I looked at them and was giving more hit points than it would if I didn't have that perk. Something else that I tested here with and without that fourth perk in Vitality was the wraps and the potions. And that fourth perk in Vitality does make a difference for both the wraps and the potions. For the wraps, it increased it from 140 healing to 200 healing. And for the potion, it increased it from 160 healing to 240 healing, which is quite a bit of difference when it comes down to those animation healings, being that it adds so many more hit points to that animation. All right, so let's get into the fifth perk, Gluttonous Gains. Eating food now counts as a healing potion and provides a healing burst at the beginning of the regeneration effect. Let's see if that's actually working. Let me lower my health here to 1, and I want you to pay close attention when I press this button. Boom, as you can see, I got 75 hit points right off the bat there. So it gives you a burst of 75 hit points, and it didn't matter which food I tried, it gave me that right off the bat. And then as long as you're not taking damage, it continues to heal throughout that sated buff. Now, for those of you that are wondering whether you can stack this effect, you absolutely cannot. So you cannot eat multiple foods or different foods in order to get that initial 75 hit points. When you have the sated buff, it is not going to work. However, once that sated buff goes away, you can absolutely do that again and have that initial hit of 75 hit points. So I want to know in the comment section below, do you guys think the temperature damage system needs to be looked at? Do you think it should be a flat number? Or are you okay with the fact that it's a percentage and that you take more damage as you gain more health? The whack moments in this video were sponsored by my legendary supporters. If you'd like to become a member, you can click the button below that says join. That'll give you all the details. And if you want to continue the fun, there's 2 videos on the screen. You can pick one of those to watch next. Please don't forget to whack the like button. And if you're new to the channel, I'd encourage you to click that subscribe button, click that bell so you get notified when I upload another video.